Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how to make this triple panel fold card. As you can see, it folds flat to go into an envelope, but you will need a 6x6 envelope for this, and it opens up like that. So when it stands on your shelf, if you keep these side bits straight, it would look like that. And if you put these sides at an angle, it would look like that. So from the top, if you keep these sides straight, whoops, okay, so that's how that one would look. And if you put these at an angle, which I think is the nicest way because you see so much of it, that's what it would look like from the top. Okay. It's really a lovely design. I know there's lots of cards on YouTube like this, maybe not the same, but very similar, but they're still beautiful cards. And the one that I saw was actually by Mixed Up Craft, although I've had to change all the sizes. So I'm going to start off by telling you the card pieces that you're going to be needing. Get myself organised here. Yep, okay. I'm going to do the penguins again, but this is soft sea foam, and for that one I used fresh freesia. Okay, I'm going to give you the inches for A4 cardstock users. In the box below I will put the inches and the metric for A4 cardstock users, and also inches for letter size cardstock users. I will call those US. I did call them NA originally because that was for North America, but I finished up confusing people because it obviously read as not applicable, so that wasn't a good idea. So I'm not ignoring Canada by putting US, but it's just to stop any more confusion. Okay, so this piece of soft sea foam is 11.5 inches by 5 3/4 inches. Then you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, which measure 2 3/4 inches by 5 5/8 inches. 1 piece of Basic White, which measures 2 1/8 inches by 5 5/8 inches. 4 pieces of Basic White, which measure 1 5/8 inches by 1 5/8 inches. And then 2 pieces of Basic White, which measure 2 1/8 inches by 1 5/8 inches. I put my Designer Series paper on here ready, and the Designer Series paper that I've used is from Penguin Playmates, I think it's called, and it's available as a gift for qualifying order during celebration, which ends on 30th of September 2021. So if you'd like to get a pack of this free, it's 12 by 12 paper, for a qualifying order, you've got about 4 days as from today, I believe. I think it goes, you've got until Thursday this week. Okay, so those 2 pieces of Designer Series paper measure 2 5/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches. Now this one you won't recognise as Designer Series paper because I've created this myself. This is one of the things I want to show you, 2 different ways of making your own Designer Series paper. No doubt you've seen this one before, which is using a stamp, but I do have another way to show you as well. So this Designer Series paper is 2 inches by 5 1/2 inches. These 4 measure 1 1/2 inches by 1 1/2 inches, and these 2 measure 2 by 1 1/2 inches. And you will also need scraps of Basic White, Basic Black and Calypso Coral, okay, because we're going to make 2 penguins. What we're going to start off doing is we are going to do the scoring on our soft sea foam, and I'm going to use my trimmer because we also need to do some cutting. Okay, so first of all, put your cardstock in landscape, and I'm going to need this forward just a little bit because I've got my tripod right by the side of me here. Can you still see that? Let's move over a bit this way. Right, that looks good. Okay, so put this in at 2 7/8 inches and score. Take your cardstock out, turn it around 180 degrees and score at 2 7/8 at the other end. Turn your cardstock round so it's vertical, and let me just get my little diagrams over. I will try and photograph this and put this onto my blog on the day that this video goes live. Okay, these are the American sizes, so I'm going to cover those up. But these give you all the score lines and all the cut lines. Now next, you want to line this up at, let me just double check this before I say anything. Yes, I thought so. Line up at 1 3/4 inches. And you can make sure that it lines up down here at the correct place, there, and just follow it down. Now, what you need to do is to score from the score line that you've got across here to the score line here. In fact, let me just fold mine. I think that'll be easier for you to see. And of course, easier for me to see. Okay, let's try that. Does that make? Yes, that's much better. Okay, right. I said 1 3/4, and you need to score from that. Oops, get out of the way, you. Score from that score line down to that score line. So that should start at 2 7/8. And it should go down to 8 5/8. Take your cardstock out, turn it 180 degrees again, line it up with 1 3/4 inches and do exactly the same. So that's from 2 7/8 down to 8 5/8. Turn your cardstock so that it is now horizontal again, landscape, and line it up at 4 5/8. So that's 4 5/8. And score down to this score line, lift up, and then score from that score line. Okay, so starting from the top, you're going to go down to 1 3/4, lift, come down, start from the bottom, and go up to 1 3/4. No, because that's not right, is it? That's from 3/4, so that takes you up to 4 inches. And then we need to open up here and line our cardstock up at 6 7/8. Okay, and then we are going to score from the top down to this score line, lift up from that score line down to the bottom. So again, so that's going to be down to 1 3/4, up, and then from the bottom up to 4 inches. Okay, so what you should finish up with is, I can't fold this at the moment, but you should have 2 score lines here. Should be easy to see on the back. Oh, come on, can you see that? Oh yes, I think you can see that, can't you? So you've got a score line there, and there, there, and there. So you've got 3 squares here. No, the 4 squares, these are 2 rectangles and 1 long rectangle. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do some cutting, and I'm just going to show you the cutting that we're going to be doing so you know where we're going. Okay, so with these 2 pieces folded up, let's do it this way so you can see better. We're going to cut on that score line, down and down. Okay, we're not cutting it out, it's going to stay there, and we're going to cut from that one to that, to that, to there. Okay, so what you're actually doing is you're doing this cut here. Okay, so the flap there and the flap there. So if we pop this in, I'm putting mine back up the right way again, and I am going to line this up at 1 3/4 again. And I'm going to come down to that score line, which must be 2 7/8 inches down. Because I get a different view because I'm looking at it diagonally, whereas you can look straight down on it. So I'll probably cut mine short, but I prefer to do that. Hold on a minute, you said 2 7/8. No, you didn't, you said 1 3/4. That's right. Right, so, oh, that's right. From 2 7/8 here, you're going to cut down to this score line here. The measurement for that should be 4 5/8, which is that one there. Then lift up, come down to 6 7/8, and cut down to 8 5/8. Okay, now we're going to turn this 180 degrees, and we're going to repeat that. So we're lining up at 1 3/4, and take our blade up to 2 7/8, down to 4 5/8, lift, go down to 6 7/8, and cut to 8 5/8. Now the final bit of cutting we need to do is on these 2 outside score lines, and we've got to join those 2 cut lines together. So the first one, line it up at 2 7/8, and then get your blade to start cutting at 1 3/4, and come down to 4 inches. I'm way short on that one there, but that's okay, I'll cut it. And then turn it around 180 degrees, line up at 2 7/8, bring your cutting tool to 1 3/4, and cut down to 4 inches. Okay. So I don't need that now, do I? Don't think so. Right, okay. Now mine are obviously going to be far too short. So that should just come apart if your cut lines have all lined up. But if you're like me, very short, you need to snip them. There's that one. That one's okay. That one's okay. No, that needs a bit of help. There we go. Right, so what we need to do now is to fold on our fold lines. Now that's going to be a valley, mountain, mountain and valley. Okay, so that's the valley fold. And give it a good burnish. And this is the valley, so give that one a good burnish. I'm just giving it a flattened where the cutting blade, when I cut it out, has left the raised bit. So now these need to be mountain folds. Okay, give those a good crease. And then these, the mountain folds as well. Just make sure they all line up nice and straight as always. Okay, so there's our card. Now because I cut mine short, I often get my paper a little bit rubbed up there. Can you see that? I think you can, can't you? It's where my scissors have pressed against it, but it doesn't take much to flatten it out again. Okay. The only reason this happens is because when I'm doing it at home by myself, I can lean my head right forward and score it and cut it and whatever in the correct places. Okay, now I'm very quickly just going to adhere all my pieces on. Okay. Let's get this. If you don't want to do the double layers like I have, with the white layer and then the designer series paper, do your designer series paper to the size that I've given you for the basic white. But I think this one's quite okay to get that extra thickness in it. Before I go too far, there is something else that I want to show you, something you could do. I've not tried it. I'm happy with the size as it is. Let me just pop this down in the correct place. There we go. Where this card folds to go in your envelope, it goes one and then one like that, and this bit does make it that much wider, but you could cut that off if you wanted to. That's what I saw in Mixed Up Craft. As I say, I don't want to do that because I think with the penguins and the sentiment there, I think that fits in really quite nicely. But it would make the card smaller and therefore you get a smaller envelope. In fact, if you're using A4, your envelope would be 4.5 by 6 really, I suppose. But just keep it like this, and you just need an envelope 6 by 6. Right. So before I put this one on, this is my own designer series paper. Before I go any further, I want to show you two ways of making your own. Obviously I've done the whole bit beforehand because you don't want to watch me do a whole piece. Let me get a scrap of paper here. So this is a piece that I started so that I could show you, and the three colours I've used on here, two of them are recommended to go with this pack and one of them isn't, but I've introduced anyway. What is recommended is the Soft Sea Foam and Just Jade, but I've also brought in Soft Succulent as well because I wanted three colours. Although once you stamp this out there isn't a huge amount of difference. But what I do when I'm doing something like this, if I want to introduce different colours, I just take my three colours and I also use my Simply Chamois because I use one colour and then the next and then the next and then the next, which means I have to keep cleaning my stamp, and it's just so much easier using this than my clean and scrub, which is what I normally use. Right, so first of all I'm going to start with, I've got that round the wrong way, haven't I? This way at least I know that which one is which and which order, so I just make sure that's clean. The fact that this is really dirty doesn't affect how it washes the stamps. It really does clean them brilliantly. You can wash it and you'll wash out some, but it will always be like that. But as I say, it doesn't affect how you clean how it cleans the stamp. So what I do, that's that one. I get a bit lazy as this goes along after a while. Let's turn it up the other way. I just find it so much easier if I use one colour at a time. At least this way I shouldn't finish up with any large gaps. Whoops, put that down too soon. Come back to the darker one. Come over here. So slowly I build this up. I just did that one, didn't I? Let's have this one. So I just work it so that, to me, it looks like a good selection. I mean, you will see that I haven't done that perfectly. It's not, you know, there is soft sea foam against soft sea foam and whatever, but it's fine. I think it looks really nice like that. So what else we need in here? I think this time we'll have Just Jade. No, Soft Succulent. And obviously the colours dry a bit different, so this is how they will dry. And then what I do, once I've done this all the way over, because I don't want this white, as you can see with this, I've done a background on it. I'm going to do a background on this. I have done a little bit. I don't need these for the second one that I'm going to show you. I'm going to use the Soft Sea Foam. I'm going to use one of our blender brushes. Just get some ink up on my brush. I'm brushing it off there because I don't want too much. Can you see that I've already done a bit over there? So now I'm going to come and do this. And that's all it takes. These brushes are absolutely superb. And it's obviously much better just to do a little bit at a time. and then if you think it's not dark enough, go back and do it again. Okay, I'll do a little bit to come back over here. Okay. This won't be wasted. I will use this on other projects. Probably not with the penguins now, because I'm really down to using my scraps. So that was one way, and the other way, which is really almost my favourite way of doing it, I use our Stampin' Right markers. You can use the Stampin' Blends, but I just feel these are a bit more hardy. And where's my other? Oh, here we go. This one. It's stripes. And you might think, oh, I can't do that, my hands are shaky. But it really does give a really lovely design. So that's that one. I've done that one. If I do that one, no, I've got to do it the other way, haven't I? Right, I use the pen end, no don't, I use the brush end, and all I do is I just tilt the brush and come over. Okay, I've gone wonky there. It really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to use this one, Soft Sea Foam. Okay, that was a lot straighter, doesn't matter. This one. That's a little bit wonky. But don't you think this is coming up as really quite a nice design? And if you don't have a designer series paper to go with whatever project you're working on, you can so easily do this. No reason why, if you wanted, why you couldn't actually do deliberate wonky lines. This is me trying to be straight. And then again, if you don't want to have it really plain white, you can go over with your brush, your blending brush. So just get some ink on there, get the worst of it off there. Okay, that's really quite light on there. But I'm quite happy with that, I think. I might make this side a bit darker so that it more matches up to that side. That's better. So there we go. I will probably trim off the edge there, possibly the edge there as well, so that it looks more professional, shall we say. But don't you think that's a great idea? That I learned absolutely years ago at one of my first Stampin' Up events. Right, so that's how I did my piece. I'm going to go back to gluing now. Don't need those. At the end of this month, or maybe the beginning of October, the group that I belong to, the Create With Us, our 15 project PDF tutorial actually features the penguin bundle, the punch and the stamp set. So if you like this, like I do watch out for that. My project that I've put in there is a 3D project, not 3D, a fancy fold. It took me absolutely ages to write the step-by-step instructions. But it's a beautiful card, I love it. See, the more layers I put here, the more different parts, designs of DSP, the more my piece is blending in. Now these you could obviously put either way, stripes going up or stripes going down. I don't always do it sideways, horizontal, but I do prefer having them this way. In fact, you could alternate them, you don't have to do them all the same on here. Right, now for the images I've done on here, what I did was I went to the designer series paper. Well, let me show you the images I've got first of all. And I've adhered them onto a little, in fact let me get a clean piece of paper. No, let's get a clean piece of paper. Okay, so I've got a fox, snowman, penguin and a polar bear, and two square ones as well. So what I did was I went to my leftovers, pieces like this, pieces like this, and I knew that I wanted to use the number 2 straight cut circle die from our layering dies, that one, and I used number 2 of the scallop for the white backing to them. And I just went round and, say for example this one here, I just put my die on it to decide where it could go and decide whether there was enough of a picture there for me, whether I was happy with it or not. That one there I think I've got as well, didn't I? Yeah, I managed to miss out the fox there. So that's how I did all of those. And these two, I went to, what did I just do with all my paper? I went to this design, which is this one here, and I had to cut the pieces out first because I was looking for bigger pieces. And then I used this die, which is from the rectangle stitched rectangle dies. So I was able, say for that one there, able to put on there to see exactly how much I could get. I got a very tiny bit of the penguin there and a very tiny bit there, but it's close enough for me, it doesn't spoil it. And then of course there was that one. So I cut a big piece around so that I knew that there would be enough space for me to get. That must have been that one there. Okay, so that's where I've got all of these from. Now these were the easy bits. I will write which dies I've used. Now those I'm not putting on dimensionals because that gets folded inside the card, but these I will do. Okay, I don't want you two together, you move up there. Yep, that's okay. See, he's got something up there. I think that was a bit of the sledge from this one, but you know, I'm not unduly bothered about that. Also on this designer series paper, that penguin there, you can punch him out with the penguin builder punch. Okay, now I'm going to make real penguins for this, so let me just pop these on first. The Merry Christmas sentiment that I've used That was from Perfectly Plaid stamp set. That's what I'm going to be using, okay? And in case you haven't seen the Penguin Place stamp set, for my project for the Create With Us PDF bundle, I've used both of these and a few other bits, just to tempt you a little bit. Right, so which one did you do? There we go. And let's just have some dimensionals to put these two up. Four in each corner will be fine. There we go. Now, I haven't decided what colour ink I'm going to be using for the sentiment, have I? They can go in the bin. So the fox I want down here, away from the other fox. Come down a bit, it's too close, I mean too far away. Is that still in shot for you? Yep. There we go. Right, so next I want to build the snowmen, and I have tips about that as well. With the scraps of paper, I've deliberately done this so that the white, the black for the actual snowman, this is 2 inches wide, and this will help save you wasting your cardstock. If you take a strip that's 2 inches, okay, you see I've done one of them, and slide it in like that, you're not going to waste any paper at all, okay? You will find that you get a lot of rubbish to get rid of, but you don't waste any because of the foot down here, okay? So that's 2 inches. I'll do more later. And then what? This one is 1 3/4 inches, and again that one comes in this side. Okay, so again, not much wastage there at all, and that's what we all like. I've got those. I use a strip like this for the eyes. Now the eyes, I use my Label Me Fancy punch, which is that little hole there. Oh, by the way, wondering why I put cardstock on these. It's because I suffer with migraines, and that stops the light shining onto the silver bits. I remembered that because this has just shone on the silver. Okay, so there's that little hole there, which is great for eyes. So if I move those bits over there, and just with a little bit like this, you're not going to be able to see this obviously because it's dark, but I can't see whether I'm doing eyes or not. But again, you know, it's well worth saving all your scraps. There we go, that's 4. And let's take these ones down and pop them on there. That's all rubbish. And then of course there's the feet. Now the feet you can stamp on to your penguin, but I personally don't particularly like the stamped feet. That's what they look like, and I think they look more like claws. I think they look a lot better when they're nice and soft and rounded like that, which is what you get if you punch them. Okay, as you can see, I've done that end. What I did was I took, I'm not going to cut it out without, are you? I used a thin strip like this so that I could put my punch there, punch one out, move it along, punch one. As you can see, you do get a lot of debris coming out with this. But, oh, that means I've got a duff one here, have I? No, you don't look duff, do you? Oh, maybe you do. I obviously went right on the edge there. Yes, you don't. Oh well, not to worry, I've got enough of what I'm planning to do. So how I put my penguins together, I've already got one up here. In fact, let me just reach these over. Okay, I already started on that one. I've lost a foot. Okay, so let's have one of these. And I've got the body. Just going to put some glue on the back of that. Am I still in shot? Yep. Okay. Now, I always like to leave a little bit of black at the bottom here. You could go right the way down if you wanted. And then the feet, you can put them up at angles like that. You could put them straight, you could put them so they come down touching the black bit, whatever you feel is right. I like to put them a bit apart like that because I think it looks more relaxed. In fact, this one's going to be even more relaxed. Okay, so that's those two. I'm going to give them some eyes. On that one there, I used our black gemstones. I can't think what they call them. But I wouldn't put those on a card for children. There's my little... That's it. When I'm doing something really tiny like this, what I tend to do is just to put a little blob of glue onto my pad because it won't stick to this. That's it. I put a little bit on the bottom and then I dab it off on here, and it's very easy to rub this off. So I'm going to put that up there, but I should have done the nose for the beak rather. In fact, I'll do this one. Eyes for... no, I won't. I'm going to do them all because I've got that glue there. When I'm never sure about putting things like this together, I always go back to the catalogue and see how they've done theirs in the projects that they've shared with us. Okay, so there's those two. I want the beak, which is this one. Now this, I do recommend you have a little play with it first time, because on this beak there is a little white line, so it really makes them look as if they're smiling or if the beak is open. Let's bring this one over. I'll show you what I mean. Don't know if you can be able to see this. Can you see there's a white line there for going through the beak? It does help to give the... let me just put it on the back of this, and then I can bring this really up close. There we go. You can see how it's got the line in there. When I first started doing these, I pressed far too hard, and it resulted in what I call a smiley bit actually. It disappeared because because I'd scratched so hard, the ink on the other bits had filled up that hole, the smile. Okay, that's beautiful. It fits absolutely superbly. There we go. Don't you think they're just so cute? I think that was the only other thing I wanted to show you. So those can pop up on dimensionals. But first of all, I want to do my sentiment. And I think I will probably do it in green. I think it will be enough to do it in soft foam, because I think it always comes up darker than I expect it to. But I'm going to be using my Stamparator, so if I'm not happy I can always change colours, because it's not going to move. What do you do with stamps? There we go. Okay. So, I don't want to use that, do I? I bought some... Oh, this is it. Just pop that there. I don't remember whether I cleaned that or not. I think I did. But just in case I didn't, I'll do it again. What colour did it? Oh, it's Fresh Freesia I used last time, didn't I? This time I want to use soft sea foam. Can't see what I've done with my new toy. My duster. Oh. Actually, what hubby did, he took... Do you remember I showed you my duster that I was using last week to smooth over this? And I said I wasn't sure quite how it's going to work out. I wondered if it was going to scratch. Well, apparently it shouldn't, because it's all wool. But he took it down to the garage and he used his... he used a tool and smoothed it all off, so he took all that writing off for me. Is that dark enough? Yes, that's beautiful. Okay, so that's that. Now I need to die cut this, and also I'm going to die cut a layer of soft sea foam as a layer for it. So I will need that. And the die that I've used for this one is from Ornate Frames, and I use this, which is like almost something you might get at a theatre announcing something, rather than just a square thing, or even possibly a logo. In fact, thinking about it, that looks like a Heinz 57 logo thingy, doesn't it? Except it comes down further. Oh, well, that was a free advert for Heinz. Right, if I put that there, pop that on. Just make sure that it looks straight. I think so. Can never resist fiddling with it, even though I do think it's straight. Oops. Well, let's hope that didn't move it. Oh, there's an eye just gone through. Yeah, it did come through the other side. Oh, there's another one there. All these leftovers will go in a little plastic bag that I keep in my stamp set, so that next time I need them, I've already got the bits ready, punched out or whatever. Right, now green, there we go. I have one of those. Oh, there we go. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut it in half. Oh, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? Buried that. I'm going to cut this one in half. This way. Scissors. Then I'm going to put a little bit of blue on the back here. I'm going to put that down so it's like a little layer underneath. I could do that on the sides as well, but I'm not. I'm just going to do top and bottom. I find this quite easy to line up because I just make sure that what I can see at that point is the same as that, the circle, the same, and all the rest of it. Oh. And then I mess it up by pushing too hard and it slides. Come on, don't drop. Oh my goodness, that is wet. I was going to say, don't dry on me. Make sure it's not showing on the sides. That's it. And then do the bottom as well. There we go. So it just got a nice little bit of edging to it. I like to make sure it stands out so it can be seen when it's on the card. Right. Now what I'm going to do is my two penguins are going to go on there, and they're both going on with dimensionals. I'll just have two little ones at the sides. I put the penguins on first, so that I can get those positioned what I would describe as central, if you like, so that then it's easier to decide where the centre bit's going. I could do it the other way around, but I find it easier to have the two correct to start off with. Right. It's you. Don't you think these are just so cute? Oh, you've got to go a bit higher. So I just make sure that they're about the same height here and also the same gap there. Get rid of those. And then this one, I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals. I'm going to put one across the middle. I don't think they'll fall apart, but just in case. And that one. I've forgotten to bring over anything to do the back bit, but never mind. At least I can show you what I've done on the other one. That's these things on the back is what I'm going to be writing my greeting on there. Then it won't be seen from the front when the card is being put standing on the shelf. Right, I'm going to just hold this up. Making sure that I'm centering it between the two rectangles above and below these here. Okay, so that's today's project. What do you think? I think that's nice. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I just love the paper, the design series paper on that one. Okay, so that's what it would look like if you stood it at an angle. And that's what it would look like if you stood it straight. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I really hope you give it a go. I ran out of ideas there, as you can see. Let's cover that up. It is a lovely project to do, and it was fun. The only challenge was I ran out of the designer series paper for this, but then that's only because I was trying to stick to a colour scheme. It's probably a lot easier just to say I'll take a bit of everything and go for it. They're all very nice subtle colours, so you could do that. Anyway, many thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. I will put all the measurements, as I say, the inches are metric for A4 and inches for letter size cardstock, all in the box below, together with all the ingredients that I've used for the card. If you do place an order with me, first of all, thank you very much. Assuming that you don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and you place an order, please remember to put the hostess code before you check out. That way, when I send you Happy Mail, which is always a handmade thank you card, unused, with an envelope so that you can use it, and a handmade thank you gift, then you use that, and I can also send you some free product as well, and that comes out at sometime in the first week or so of October. If you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down there and click on the bell so that you make sure that you do get the notifications. Many thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, please take care, stay safe, and happy crafting. Cheerio.